Hello and welcome. My name is Brett Grossman. I'm a top leader here with Freedom Financial Solutions. And in today's training topic, we are going to discuss how to go through the process of asking for the banking information and explaining to your client what that process looks like. And also for agents, what it looks like for you in order to get your applications approved and issue paid so that you get paid faster. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to take note of is some of the signs that come along with going through the interview process with a business owner and or a client in their home. Now, all the information that we're going to deliver to you over the course of the next few weeks in a lot of these training videos will come from real-time experience. What that means is you're not going to be getting training or trained by myself or anyone else in the organization who isn't currently out in the field on a daily or weekly basis, meeting with clients at an extremely high level. And so one of the things that we want to explain to you is how to look for the signs. The signs that come along with meeting with people for the first time. And I'm going to use an example of a client that I met with yesterday on Monday. Now, there's two types of clients that we typically meet with. Clients that are preset appointments where a fresh lead came in, for example. We dialed them up on the telephone. We had a 7 to 10 minute conversation. We found out a little bit about their work history, their medical history, why they filled out the form, do they have any current insurance. So we were able to take somebody from a cold conversation, the first 30 seconds, into a warm conversation, and it allows you, the agent, when you step into their home, to have just a little bit more of a warmer introduction. That is establishing the trust factor. As opposed to what I went through yesterday, which was I went and did a door knock to a husband and wife couple. It was a fresh lead. Haven't been able to get a hold of them for a couple weeks. And whenever you're going to do a door knock on any type of lead, whether it's a B lead or a fresh lead, you have to keep in mind, you want to put yourself in their position. What is it like to have a stranger at your front door? Although we do have their signature and although we do have their information with mortgage protection information that they had filled out, especially on a fresh lead, it's still, you have to go through that process of getting them to, warm up to you, really understand who it is and why you're there, and then obviously have them allow you to step into their home right then and there if the timing is right. And so as an example, I went and I met with Bonnie and Robert yesterday. And when I came to the door, Robert came to the door first. Then I explained to him who I was. I showed him the fresh lead that Bonnie had filled out because she wrote her name on it. And she had filled everything out completely. And I said, listen, we tried to reach out to her several times, unsuccessfully. Is she here now? And he goes, yeah, hold on 1 second, I'll go get her. She comes out to the front door. Now, he was more personable than she was. And what I mean by that is when he came to the door, it was a shake hands. We got to talking a little bit because she wasn't exactly ready to come to the door for a few minutes. Now, when she came to the door, she was very standoffish. She was kind of cold, as a matter of fact. And so right away I knew that, and you should know this too, when meeting with people, if you're going to be meeting with a husband and wife couple, whether it's off a door knock or even a fresh lead, if you only spoke to one of the spouses, the other spouse might be a little bit standoffish. And so one of the signs that you're going to look for is their body language. If somebody's standing there and the whole time, or they're sitting there the whole time, their arms are crossed, and it's almost like you feel like they can stare right through you, your job is not to necessarily be offended by that. Your job is to, what I like to describe as, get them on your side of the table. Because at this point in time, they are all the way on the other side of the table. But this is your first sign that when it comes time to go through the banking information, get ready, there might be some slight pushback. So that is your first sign to look for. Another sign are some of the answers to your questions and what is their communication skills like. Are they answering your questions? When you ask where the sale is made or finding the pain, and you ask them a question such as, at your job, you have insurance, yes? Yes. Now, outside of your job, you don't have any coverage, correct? Correct. Now, your husband, he's the main breadwinner, correct? Yes. Now, if you lost his income completely because of the result of an illness or if he passed away, what does that look like for you financially? How are you going to be able to, for example, pay your mortgage, pay all the utilities, all the cost of living expenses, and maintain your typical monthly expenses the way you normally do? What does that look like for you? Now, if she or he is just giving you very short, one-word answers and they're not really communicating with you, you may have to dig a little bit further. You may have to, right, if they just say, well, that would stink. I don't know. We'd be in trouble. You're going to have to dig a little bit further. Now, when you say we'd be in trouble, what does that mean? Meaning you and the kids would be in trouble? Yes. So you want to extract the information from them and get them to open up a little bit. And that's what happened yesterday. She literally went from having her arms crossed, her arms down. She was sitting up in her chair. My goal yesterday was just to see, hey, could I get this woman to crack a smile? Could I get her to lighten up? And several times throughout the process, I did see her smile a couple times, and I did start to see her lighten up. But when it came time to the banking information, I was totally prepared because I knew it was going to happen. So one of the things that you always want to do is you want to address their concern. And so if anybody ever, so there's two types of ways of doing the banking information. The first way is you want to explain the process. But there's some keys, some signs that are going to come throughout the process that you're going to hear. Things like, well, is that going to be the premium and can I change it? Or I'm going to need to think about it. Or, all right, let's go ahead and do an application, but can you just send me the statement in the mail? And I'm going to address these and how you can overcome them. But the number one thing that I want you to keep in mind is whenever there's an objection, that's good. It means that they're interested. It means that they are ready to purchase and they're ready to buy. They just need to make sure that you're able to answer all their questions in an articulate manner and that you do sound confident in how you answer their questions. So, when delivering the process of how it all works, if you haven't already started taking notes, I would go ahead and start to write things down right now, because this is exactly how myself personally, over the last 7.5 years, have been able to put together over 3,000 applications with this direct delivery. And we've kind of, gone through this delivery and tweaked it a little bit. But this seems to be the one that works best. Now, if you're watching the replay, you want to go ahead and hit pause and grab something to write down, because this is going to be the difference maker between are you getting paid in the next 48 to 72 hours or are you not getting paid for 20, 25, 30 days. And here's how I deliver the process. How it works is, Bonnie, Robert, what's going to happen is your application is going to land in the hands of the underwriting department. They are then going to take a look at all the information that we went over today. Once your application is approved, and I believe that it will be approved based on the answers that you gave me here today, once that application is approved, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have coverage. Once the policy is activated and issued, it will actually pull your first premium. And once that process happens, then you have instant coverage. So, would it be okay for us to go ahead and after the application is approved, to automatically issue and activate it and pull the first premium? Now, what I'll share with you is the majority of people will say, yes, that works. Then you're going to get some folks that are going to give you two different options or two different pushbacks. And you're going to have to ask typically 3 times what I just asked, but maybe in just a different way, and I'm going to give that to you. And most people are going to say, yep, that's fine, that'll work. Now, some people are going to say, well, I typically like to pay my bills in the middle of the month, or I like to pay my bills at the beginning or the end, whatever they might say, and say, okay, I understand. And they say, yeah, I normally like to pay all my bills on the 15th. Now, let's say today was the 24th. That would mean that with most carriers, if you put it in for the 15th and then it gets activated, it issues, you may not get paid to the 16th or 17th of next month. You as the agent. All the carriers do that except for, I believe, Foresters is the only one that will actually approve They will issue, they will not activate, they will issue, they will pay you, the agent, the advance up front, and then when the 15th rolls around, then they activate it and they pull the first premium, and then it goes live. I believe Foresters is the only carrier out of all of our carriers that actually will still give you the advance. Everybody else, you're going to have to wait. And so when they say, I'd like to wait till the 15th, address that. Okay, I understand. So you'd like to pay in the middle of the month. Makes total sense to me. I have a fiduciary responsibility, though, to let you know that as we sit here today on the 24th, let's say your application got approved on the 27th or the 28th, but you don't want it to come out until the 15th. I have to let you know, Bonnie, that in the event of a critical illness, a chronic illness, a terminal illness, or God forbid you even passed away, Robert would not receive the benefit and you would not get paid out on a living benefit because it hasn't actually been activated and issued. And so you will not have coverage. Although it's approved, you will not have coverage during this period of time. Are you okay with that? All of a sudden, another small percentage of people will then change their mind and they will then say, you know what, it's quite all right. You can just go ahead and you can change it and you can have it activated as soon as it gets approved. Perfect. You continue to move on. Here's another way. Somebody says, well, I really need to just make sure that this is something that we really, that we want to do, that we want to move forward with. I just need time. I just need time to think about it. Okay. And so when I leave here, you and your husband are going to continue the conversation about what we did here today, correct? Says yes. Great. Now, I told you that it's going to be with the carrier for about 3 to 5 business days. I'm also going to be reaching out to you in the next 48 hours to let you know the status of your application. And then if I don't know a yes or a no, I'm going to be calling you back again. So you and I are going to be in constant communication. Let me ask you a question. Do you need more than a day or 3 to 5 days or even 30 days to really think about this? Normally, this is a decision that you and your husband can discuss, that you'll come to the conclusion that after I leave here, it's going to be the best decision that you make. And I am going to be the agent that's going to be able to assist you in helping you secure that mortgage protection for you and your family. And at that point, most people will then go, okay, all right, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And then there's going to be still the small percentage of people who just say, nope, has to be on the 15th. It has to be in the beginning of the month. Don't argue with them, agree with them, put it in the drop-down menu for whatever specific date they choose, and then just move on. Now, that's how you explain the process. That's how you get people to commit. Now, if you have somebody who says, well, in the past, we had different things come out of our bank account, and whether it's insurance benefits or whatever that might have been, and they took out the wrong amount, and something got screwy with the bank account, and it really messed us up. I can understand your concern. I would have the same concern if that happened to my bank account. Here's what I'll share with you. Number one, in the event, and out of several thousand clients, I can think, and this is the truth, I know of 2 off the top of my head where there was a mishap with the bank account. Okay? That's it, out of thousands. And both times, it got resolved very quickly. And the client was happy. They didn't cancel, everything stayed the same. So, I will then say, I totally understand what you mean. I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Here's what I'll share with you. You'll have me as your agent that you can reach out to me directly, and I will 3-way you into a conference call, and I will get the person at the highest level to make sure that if anything like that ever happens, we get it fixed right away for you. That's number one. Number two, our company has a history and a track record where there are no complaints about any of my current clients that I have who've ever had any of these kinds of complaints with this particular carrier. And so this is not something that you would need to worry about in this particular type of withdrawal. And so they ask something, can I change it? And I'll address the question. Now, when you say change it, do you mean you want to change it next month, in 90 days, or next year? Well, I'm just not sure if this is the one I want. Yes, you can change it. As a matter of fact, I do annual reviews. And I'll be coming back here in a year to sit with you to see if anything's changed in your medical history, to see if we actually have a program that would actually allow you to maybe have a little bit more coverage. And we can discuss that at that time. Would that be okay? Yes. Great. And then move on. Somebody says, can you send me a statement? I'm very adamant, and this happened yesterday, very adamant. I don't want anything coming out of my bank account, not because anything had happened, but again, it was her body language. It was her makeup. And I don't mean like the makeup on her face. It was just her makeup, her character. This is just how she was. And, you know, he was willing and able. She was like, well, you know, just send a statement. We don't really. I said, look, here's what we'll do for you. When the first premium comes out, and just so you know, you and I are going to be in constant communication. When the first premium comes out, if you don't like the way that the insurance company withdrew the premium on the date that you requested, please contact me directly and we'll make a change for you. If that is going to be something that really bothers you. And I'll be more than happy to do that for you. And that's it. And we left it at that. She went in the back and she went and got the check. She came back, handed it over to me, routing an account number, never spoke about it again. So whenever these concerns come up, okay, their words, their statements, their body language, these are all signs that you want to look for in the process. And you always want to be able to address their concern, and you never want to address it in a way that is almost coming off as derogatory. You actually want to do the complete opposite. It's almost as if you want to pay the client a compliment. You know, I'm really glad that you asked that question. You know, I'm glad that you've brought up that type of concern. And you want to address it in that manner that it makes them feel comfortable. Again, you want to make sure that they are in this with you together and get them on your side of the table. This is how you explain the process. This is how you get them to give your banking information without any hesitation. As long as you go ahead and explain the process ahead of time, you will eliminate a large majority of these objections because you've already addressed it ahead of time. And when you're explaining to somebody the process, you have now set the expectation. And so good luck out there. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us directly. Have a great day.